The last Sporty Monday episode for the month of November is here. And as always, we have a packed sport menu. From Antalya, Turkey, where Harambee Stars suffered an 8-0 hiding at the hands of Senegalese Lions of Teranga. Swila's shot will pull the trigger on that. And Nairobi United, who are making their bow in the CAF Confederations Cup group stages, they fell away in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We have incisive talking points lined up. In Japan, Team Kenya is flying the flag high at the Tokyo Deaflympics. And back home in Nairobi, Nairobi City Thunder are putting on their best game as they chase the coveted BAL ticket. All that and much more, including the English Premier League title race. Which way for Liverpool? Are they walking alone? Steve Shitera, Wakili Jafeth Munyendo, and Ziti Jimoi are making for good company this morning. I am your host, Isaac Swila Tijan. But first, Jimoi is at the scoreboard. Ziti?
Thank you so much, Swila. As we continue looking for Liverpool in the forest of course, the Nottingham Forest, they got lost there. Of course, they were beaten during the weekend. But again, in the same week, that is last week, Kenya were defeated 8-0. But is it the worst defeat? I'll be giving you that in the graphics. And again, Team of the Week is back. So don't go away. Wait for more from Sporty Monday. Back to you, Swila.
Absolutely. Buckle up. We are glad you're joining us. We have a beautiful show lined up for you. And to our question of the day, or the interactive segment today, we stay local and we're asking about the Kenyan Premier League. Which team do you think will win the Kenyan Premier League title 2025-2026 season, and why? Which team do you think will win the KPL title and why? 22422, that's the SMS number. We want to hear your thoughts. We are also on social media. On Facebook, we've posted that question. You could interact with it there, and also you can X us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Isaac Swila, at Ziti Jimoi, or you can also X Steve Shitera. We are going to sample some of your thoughts. But on to our top story. We begin in Antalya, Turkey, where Harambee Stars were hit, not 2, not 3, not 4 or 5, but 8, capitulating at the mere sight of the Senegalese Lions. Take a look at how they were mauled in Turkey. And of course, those are the goal highlights in Turkey. Not a very, very good outing for the Stars last week. But we'll also be comparing how does this rank with other previous defeats. Of course, we have one that went down in 1932. But the moment of the day is the Senegalese Lions making minced meal of the Stars. Steve, did that come as a shocker?
No, it did not come as a shocker. Wakili here had warned us on Monday, and I think I bought into that warning. chambilecho wahenga, mgema akisifiwa, tembo hulitia maji. I think we overpraised Benny McCarthy after his performance during CHAN. But again, when the squad came up, I asked myself, where is the goalkeeper that was a hero at CHAN? Brian Omondi was not in goal. Shikalo was not in goal. He brought in another experiment in Bwire. And I think the too much gambling with the coach. You see, when you got the results at CHAN, that should have formed the skeleton of his Harambee Stars team. Mm-hmm. Basically, he should have retained the first 11 that played and performed well at CHAN, probably just patch up that team as we move forward. He's bringing in too much experiments. He will never know when to settle or which team to play. And he once gave some sentiments that I've started now digging through, that he misses club football, probably. His mind is now very, very far away from the Harambee Stars team. Even the team traveling to Turkey, he joined the team later. Document issues. When you are a coach, you prepare with the team. Probably even the emotional well-being of the players when they are traveling without their coach. The coach is catching a flight later to join them. Those are the things that really painted so much doubt into this friendlies. We lost to Equatorial Guinea. We've lost 8-0 to Senegal. And the impact is immediate. Kenya has moved from position 111 to 113.
4 places down.
4 places down. The impact is immediate. And I thought that we are playing in Senegal. This is an opportunity to try and give our best, probably get even a draw. It will have had immense impact on our FIFA ranking, but look at what it has done to us. It has dented our image internationally. I don't think even Somalia will want to play Kenya.
Wakili, actually, last week you would want, I wish we had that clip, but you'd want us to. Actually, your words was, quote and quote, you fear for Kenya. And actually, your prediction has come to pass. Steve has brought to the fore a very cardinal point in this saying, CHAN Stars, actually, that was more of a skeleton that Benny had put in place. He just needed maybe to beef that squad and see how to build the pieces. But from his analysis, he thinks maybe the coach is tinkering too much with the team. There's a lot of trial and error. Do you think that holds some weight, or he probably gave the Senegalese the respect they didn't deserve and they punished us as much?
You know, I'll be very guarded when I make my comments that may affect the person of McCarthy, for the reason that there's a decree by Shitera which has not been set aside. He decreed here that we must stop, we must cease and desist making any comments that attack the person of McCarthy. So I'm very afraid to make any comments that may actually annoy him. So
I'm the author, and the author is annoyed.
Yeah. So I'll be very guarded. Mm-hmm. Firstly, now when it comes to the dropping of Farouk Shikalo, Farouk just moved to Ethiopia. He signed with St. George's, and probably issues of transition. I think he must have played 2 or 3 matches, and maybe it may not have been it may not have been a very good option to include him in this squad. But even Brian Bwire, who was on the sticks, he played against Burundi, and he was substituted midway after he was suspended. You saw, after he was injured, you saw the player who instigated the injury, the Burundian, was the other day fined, should be $10,000. So I think Brian Bwire is a common figure there, even though there's a goal he was scored by Uganda, which I think for any football fan is still acts in memories. Be that as it may, this squad, my thinking, I've seen some videos doing rounds in social media where Benny McCarthy's assistant is quoted saying they had planned for Madagascar and Comoros was it Comoros or Cape Verde? Comoros, I think.
Comoros.
Yeah. So my thinking, in my own analysis, is that perhaps he had called the squad to face the two sides, the inexperienced side, so that they accord them some experience. But then the federation later on sourced for other better quality of opponents. That is Equatorial Guinea and Senegal. Now, it's ironic. The last time we faced Senegal, who beat us 3-0, was it 3-1?
3-0.
3-0 in Egypt, 2019.
Yeah,
Back-to-back.
Yes.
Back-to-back results, it has been 3-0, 3-0 now, 8.
Who was our coach?
In
2019.
Actually,
Sebastian.
Frenchman.
The
Sebastian.
same Frenchman we dismissed, and he has made Wharton
Taken Haiti to the World Cup.
To the World Cup. So 4-5 years ago, when we were facing Senegal, we were able to only to soak in 3 goals.
At a competitive level.
At a competitive level. This one at a friendly level, it was not a very good result. But all hope is not lost. I mean, this is only football. We beat Senegal in many other disciplines. In rugby, they will not do the same. We will draw a higher.
But that's no justification for this loss.
No, it's not a justification.
Wakili, you see, it's like kukula ugali na uji na kusema kwamba hata kama sina mboga nimeshiba. You see, that's not healthy.
That was just by the way. It ought not to have really.
But again, Wakili, before I go to Zita, the question I wanted you to answer, and Shtera laid the foundation for that.
Yes.
What's your take on the so many changes within the squad?
Yes.
Today is Wakili in goal, the next day it's Zita, the next day it's Swila. What do you make of that?
For friendlies, I want to make reference to what Kenneth Muguna said. Kenneth Muguna spoke about experience. You need experience. But there must be somebody who must take a risk to give an inexperienced player a platform, or even an employee. I'll give you an example. For you even to be here, there must have been somebody somewhere who took that risk to give an inexperienced Swila the platform.
But so for you think that this approach that Ben is taking is good for the future? If I'm hearing you right.
It depends with the opponent.
It should be a steady risk.
It depends with the opponent.
It should not be just a risk from the Blues.
For me,
it should be a steady risk. You cannot
in my view.
For instance, he has given an example with journalism. You cannot take probably inexperience to cover
the World Cup.
The World Cup, or inexperience to cover what we saw just the other day, the burial of former Prime Minister.
So there's some lessons. There's a positive lesson from that.
And you see, he has been escaping with those trials. We saw it even in Chan, but he was pulling surprises. You don't pull a surprise against Senegal. And it doesn't matter who the federation is lining up for you. You should be prepared as a coach.
But by the way, Sula, just a second. I agree with you. You see, during the match against which team?
Morocco.
When Austin Odongo was introduced at a very young age, a naive player, at a big stage. And then against Senegal also, the introduction of Byron perhaps may not have been very, very good, given the caliber of opponents. But there's a question. You guys, we conceded 8 goals. One of the best goalkeepers in Kenya, Jobo Cheng from Kenya Police, I do not know why he's never summoned up for national duty.
The question here is,
the goalkeeper.
Shitera rightfully put it that the defeats at FIFA level, and these are FIFA international friendly, you pay the price, and we've seen that with the latest FIFA rankings. We've dropped 4 places down. And actually, Senegal have also dropped a slope down after being beaten by Brazil. But for long, we've said we want quality friendlies, pedigree. And it's not very easy to get a friendly match against Senegalese when your rankings are dismal, 100
in fact, it was a
downwards. But now, the assistant coach of Beni said, we do not know how this friendly was organized, who organized it. That really raises a fundamental question from the technical bench. I don't know. What do you make of that? Because from where I sit, I think it's the technical bench that should be making these recommendations to the federation. These are the men we would want to face.
I think they're exposing that there's a little bit of disconnect between the federation and the technical bench, because saying that, and you know that you're in the same federation, and you're telling me that you didn't know you're going to play with Senegal, and the Senegal president was here actually recently, and who held the talk so that we can play with the Senegal. He needs to come clear and tell us that sisi tuliambiwa na ABCD to play this game, but we were not playing that game. So this is just like someone just being don't want to be blamed on what happened. But again, something that I want to say, of course, Senegal were playing with Brazil, and
they had been beaten 2-0 before facing Stars.
Talking about quality and experience, they knew they're going to face Brazil, and they called their best players in the squad. Talk about Mane. Mane is turning 33 years actually this year. Talk about even other senior players that were called by Senegal to go and play with Brazil. And they're the senior players that played against Kenya. They did not gamble that game against Kenya, knowing that Kenya is FIFA ranking. By that time, we were 111, and them, they were 18. Like, they did not gamble, like, let us fill the team B to play against Kenya and let the other rest, because they're experienced, they are older, they are 30-something years. But again, the Senegal game, we were supposed to go with the players. I will go with the players that have experience of playing with that game. A player that can read the game. A player that can read the tempo of the game. Talk about Olunga. Olunga was supposed to play that game because at the end of it, Olunga has played with the Mane in Saudi, in the Saudi league, so he knows him. He's not going to play with him like a star. Like the other team was maybe afraid of tackling Mane because they know that this is my idol. I cannot tackle that person, you know. So for me, I'm like, they did not take. They did not take like a step behind playing against Kenya, that I'm not going to put Mane to play against Kenya. They played their best players and getting the 8 goals and getting the 3 points. Did the
assistant coach
as we respond to this, actually, as we were being beaten by Senegalese, Miko Olunga was actually on holiday in the Maldives.
Yes.
And he posted a telling picture, actually, in the wake of that defeat.
The defeat.
I want to know, did the assistant coach give the sentiments after the game or before the game?
After.
No, it was before the game.
Before the game.
He was being, when they were
interviewed,
training. No, when they were training here in Kenya. So the video surfaced later on after the defeat.
Now you see, I still go back to my statement that the coach is really gambling with the squad, and we have seen it. It's a habit from him. You really need to have your official number. As Zita has said, we knew Sadio Mane will be in the squad. We knew Nicholas Jackson will be in the squad. We knew all the star players will be in. So, yes, it is a transition that you are introducing Ogam, who has really fought for that number. But yes, it needs to be a smooth transition. Let it not be like a shocker. That now everyone is shocked. We were shocked on this panel. Where is Olunga? Is he injured? No, he's not injured.
By the way, speaking of Olunga, you know, every time we are defeated, Olunga takes the blame. So I'm so happy that Olunga was not there to be blamed. You know, we always look for
I agree. I support 100% the coach on transition. Yes. But let the transition be smooth.
Let it be synchronized.
Olunga might have been there. You can start him from the bench. The inspiration. Copy what Portugal are doing with Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes. You see, it's something that you can really bring into that system. But again, the surprises from the coach are not good. And I think Senegal has really exposed Coach Benny McCarthy. If he is staying or is here with us.
In summary, what do we do going forward?
If he's here with us, he really needs to go back to the drawing board and come up with a strategy that will give us a winning mentality, because now we are really shattered as a team.
Of course, the Stars have egg on their face after that humiliating defeat, but the 8-0 defeat to the Senegalese is not actually the most embarrassing defeat Harambee Stars have suffered over the years. We are going down the memory lane and just showing you some of the infamous defeats, rather, the Stars have suffered. And Ziti has those details in Part B of the studio. Ziti, take it away.
You know what I'm laughing is I can't believe Uganda walitupiga 13 by the way one. In December 14th, 1932, of course, we were defeated by Uganda 13-1 in Kenya in Gosage Cup in Uganda. Actually, Uganda were at home. And then in April 3rd, that is 1937, of course, Uganda again walitupiga pia 9-5. Of course, the same cup. And then in January 7th, 1962, of course, we were beaten by Ethiopian 6-1. Ethiopia 6-1 in Kenya. It was a friendly match in Kenya. I think in this first page, kuna mtu anasemanga lazima tujitetee. Hapa hatukuwa tumepata independence, by the way. Hapa tulikuwa tuna train kupigania independence. So hata walitupata when we were very weak. When we were very weak. So tulikuwa tunajaribu, our best players were fighting for independence. So after that, so hapa hivi lazima tujitetee kidogo. So in November 13th, 1963, Ethiopian, of course, walitupiga pia 7-1 in Kenya, in Olympic Games qualifiers in Ethiopia. And then in December 13th, 1962, of Kenya, of course, we were defeated by Zambia. That is 2-8. Of course, wanasema Independence Cup in Kenya, but of course, it was Jamhuri Day. In December 11th, of course, again in 1963, Kenya 2, Ghana 13, and then that was in Independence Cup, of course, Jamhuri Day. And I remember that I'm not remembering because I wasn't there, but in the history saying that, of course, the coach abandoned the game. That is Coach Peter Oronge abandoned the game before the match, and then Ghanaian, of course, legend Kofi scored 6 goals that day. So walivuruga coach akamua ameenda tukapigwa. So again, let's come in February 9th, of course, 9th 2-5. Hapa sasa nilikuwa nimezaliwa. Of course, Morocco defeated us 1-0 in World Cup qualifiers. And October 7th, 2021, of course, Mali defeated us 0-5, of course, in World Cup qualifiers. And if I am not wrong, this was the first game that Injin Firat was in charge. And it was his debut, by the way, the first game that he was in charge. And November 18th, 2025, of course, Juzi, that is last week, we were defeated by Senegal 8-0 here in Kenya. It was a friendly match. And those are some of the defeats that we've been having in history, that the heavy defeat that we're having. But again, I still bado natetea country to Uganda defeated us because our best players were exercising to fight for independence. But back to you, Swila.
Of course, not a very good reading down memory lane, but as they say, it is what it is. The huge task now is on Benny McCarthy on the technical bench, and of course, the federation led by President Hussein Mohammed. Still matters football, perennial champions